Have you ever felt as though the world is moving on without you, leaving you behind in a deafening solitude? You reach out, yet the connections seem fragile, and the silence grows heavier. It's as if Allah is pulling you away from everyone and everything. But why? My dear brothers and sisters, this isolation is not a punishment. It's a profound preparation. When Allah chooses to isolate someone, it is often to refine, protect, and guide them to a purpose far greater than they can imagine. Today we will explore 7 profound reasons why Allah may isolate His chosen ones. Reasons that hold deep wisdom and insight. Before we begin, take a moment to reflect. What if the loneliness you're experiencing is Allah's invitation to draw closer to Him, away from the distractions of this world? Let's uncover how this isolation can be the greatest blessing of your life. Have you ever noticed how easily your faith can waver when surrounded by certain influences? The laughter, gossip, and distractions of the world can subtly pull your heart away from Allah. Allah may isolate you to safeguard your iman, much like a gardener protects a delicate flower from harsh winds. Imagine this. You're in an environment where your beliefs are constantly challenged, and compromising your values feels easier than standing firm. Suddenly, those same people drift away. It's painful, but in hindsight, wasn't Allah shielding your heart from harm? Take comfort in the verse. Indeed, those who have said, "Our Lord is Allah," and then remained steadfast, the angels will descend upon them, saying, "Do not fear and do not grieve, but receive good tidings of paradise, which you were promised." Quran 41:30. Your loneliness is not a void. It's an opportunity for Allah to fill your heart with His guidance and love. When was the last time you sat in silence and truly reflected on yourself? Isolation removes the noise and distractions, forcing you to confront your inner self. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Think of Prophet Musa, alayhi salam, who spent years in solitude herding sheep before being chosen to lead his people. In those quiet moments, he was not abandoned. He was being prepared. Allah's wisdom lies in these periods of stillness. You might feel abandoned, but this solitude is your training ground. The discomfort you feel now is shaping you into a stronger, wiser individual. Ask yourself, what qualities is Allah trying to develop in me during this time? How often do we turn to Allah wholeheartedly when life is easy? It's usually in times of difficulty and isolation that we truly pour our hearts out to Him. When you have no one else to turn to, you realize that Allah has been there all along, waiting for you to call upon Him. Remember the story of Maryam, alayha salam, when she retreated to a secluded place. Her isolation brought her closer to Allah and prepared her for her extraordinary role. Similarly, your solitude is an invitation to strengthen your bond with your Creator. As the Quran beautifully reminds us, and we are closer to Him than His jugular vein. Quran 50:16. When surrounded by people, it's easy to lose sight of your true intentions. Are you performing acts of worship to seek Allah's pleasure or the approval of others? Isolation provides a rare chance to purify your heart and realign your actions solely with Allah's will. Prophet Ibrahim, alayhi salam, faced isolation when he stood against the idolatry of his people. His solitude strengthened his resolve and his unwavering dedication to Allah. In the same way, your isolation can refine your sincerity and help you rediscover the purest form of worship. Have you ever felt stuck watching others achieve milestones while your life feels stagnant? This waiting period isn't wasted time. It's Allah's way of teaching you patience and preparing you for what's to come. Think of Prophet Yunus, alayhi salam, in the belly of the whale. His isolation was not a punishment, but a lesson in trust and reliance on Allah. As the Quran states, so be patient. Indeed, the promise of Allah is truth. Quran 30:60. Trust in Allah's timing. What feels like a delay is often a preparation for something far greater than you can imagine. Sometimes the people or situations we cling to are the very things that can harm us. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, may remove these elements from your life to protect you. Imagine being in a toxic relationship or environment that stifles your growth. When Allah isolates you, it's His way of steering you away from harm and guiding you towards peace. Take solace in the verse. Perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you, and Allah knows while you know not. Quran 2:216. Trust that every removal is a form of divine protection. Every great journey begins with preparation. Prophet Yusuf, alayhi salam, endured isolation in a well and imprisonment, yet these trials shaped him into a leader who would save a nation. Your isolation is no different. It's Allah's way of equipping you for a unique role that only you can fulfill. Reflect on this. What if your current solitude is the foundation for something extraordinary? Embrace this phase, for it is not the end of your story, but the beginning of a new chapter. My dear brothers and sisters, isolation is not a punishment. It's Allah's way of refining, protecting, and elevating you. Every moment of loneliness, every tear shed in silence, and every heartfelt prayer is seen by Allah. Trust in His wisdom and know that this phase is preparing you for something far greater. If this message has resonated with you, share your reflections in the comments below. Perhaps a simple dua such as, Ya Allah, grant me strength in my solitude, can inspire others who are walking a similar path. And before you leave, consider watching the next video linked here. It delves deeper into Allah's wisdom and how it manifests in our lives. Until next time, may Allah guide us, strengthen our faith, and make our trials a means of drawing closer to Him. Ameen.